All right, so we have a new video here by the Comeback Kids. It's all about Blizzard's new approach and changing everything about how we play WoW. If you've watched some of the other content by other content creators, you'll know that there are new things on the horizon that Blizzard wants to do, where they're going to take us, and how they're going to implement it. Now, we'll see how far they can go, how quickly they can get this done, but I think it's going to be something that you'll find intriguing nonetheless. So let's go ahead and check this out. Once again, this is by the Comeback Kids, and we'll get to see.
Cycle. Everyone's hyped. You're grinding like crazy for a few weeks, and then burnout hits. You're done. You're waiting for the next big thing that might never come. But Blizzard's flipping the script this time. Instead of one giant dump of content, they're rolling it out slowly, little pieces of gameplay, events, and systems that almost feel like a season pass. It's a huge risk, but it's also making me wonder if this might actually be the smartest move Blizzard's ever made. So it's time to be real on what's working here and what isn't, and why this slower, more seasonal World of Warcraft might be exactly what the game and we as players.
Now, I'm somebody that plays a lot of WoW. I have the availability to play a lot of World of Warcraft, maybe too much, but I think that's something that if anyone's burning out, they can step away and play other games. But for somebody like myself, I generally only go and do, Mythic Plus. I'll raid here and there, but it's not something that I really feel is overwhelming for me. Not unless I'm coming back from a long break. And there was a time where I took 9 years away from this game, and I came back to the game and found that there was such a thing as Pathfinder 1, Pathfinder 2. That was just to get your flight. And then let's talk about, because I came back in Battle for Azeroth. Let's talk about all the grind you had to do for Azerite to level up your neck. So it can be. But for somebody that gets into it, gets into it all, I don't think it's going to be as overwhelming if you just want to play the game and not feel rushed. Don't feel rushed. You don't have to.
Need to finally break that burnout cycle. Now, in the past, every new major patch or season would drop everything at once. You got Mythic Plus, the new raid, PvP season, new events, all of it dumped on us in one shot, and you do your best to grind it all as fast as possible just to stay relevant. And if you didn't, you would always feel like you're falling behind. I mean, you remember those days, everyone's no-lifing Mythic Plus, smashing through rage, trying to gear up in every possible way, and then, just a couple weeks later.
Now, I feel like anyone that's feeling overwhelmed as well is because you're trying to maybe find the class that you want to play for the season. Or, let's say, for instance, you like playing all of your characters, and you could have anything from 2 to 10 and want to gear them all comparably to cover all the content. Now, those are things that you need to gauge on yourself, because Blizzard, although they have a warband system, hasn't still made it as easy as everyone thinks. I suggested over the weekend that Blizzard should let you as a player with alts give your end chest, if nobody needs it in the raid or in your Mythic Plus end of chest, let's go ahead and let that be not soul bound, but account bound. The caveat to that would be that your character would be maxed in that slot. So if I have feet and my feet are 580, 684, then if I get 550, 655, I don't want to keep on saying 555. If I get 655, then I should be able to send that to any of my other alts that are level 80 and are that class that can wear that piece of gear. That's what I'm saying.
Later, half of the guild is burned out. Everyone's exhausted, and it feels like World of Warcraft has become like a second job you have to keep up with. That's kind of how the burnout starts, and honestly, it's a terrible way to design an MMORPG. When patches force you to treat the game like a job, it kills the fun and drives people away instantly. But now, it feels like...
Well, yeah, because we had all these chores. Remember, Torghast was a good one. Whenever you tie, some of your best in slot or your mythic, or what was it, legendaries? Your legendaries, you would tie your legendaries to the damn gameplay because that was your player power. You couldn't miss. You couldn't miss. You had to run them. You had to get it. You had to. It's just insane the amount of work that they did. But I believe now Blizzard is getting away from that process, and that is a good thing to see, to try and avoid all these people that are talking about burnout. To see that people want to log in. They can't wait to log in. And it's just not about a laundry list of things that you have to do in the game so that you can be the better player because you might try to min-max. It's just about the enjoyment of losing yourself in the game, being able to be immersed in the gameplay and the story. One of the things that I think that Blizzard should do more of is on their patch releases, they should give you more story. The recent patch that we had that gave us the Nightfall, that was such a poor just poor. What was it? Like 5 things that you had to do for the story and then it was over. I think you should go more along the lines of giving us more story if you want to try and change the mindset of your casual players to care more about the story and get more of it in the game instead of having to buy a book or, some kind of short story.
It's like Blizzard's finally letting us slow down. It's like they're saying, hey, it's okay. You could play at your own pace and you're not gonna be left behind. And that's a relief mentally. You've got way more time to enjoy each piece of content without feeling like you're missing out. There's room to breathe, to actually savor the new stuff. For casual players, it's a game changer. You're not left in the dust if you're not logging in every day. It's like the game's finally telling us that we're okay and we're part of this, even if you're not a sweaty degenerate playing 6 hours a day like we used to. For me, the biggest win, though, is that there's always something around the corner to look forward to. There's a little update that makes it feel fresh. Weekend after weekend and month after month. Even if you're not playing as hard as you used to, there's always some small piece of content giving you a reason to log back in. One week, it's a new event in Hollowfall. Then a few weeks later, it's Horrific Visions. A couple weeks later after that, it's Dastardly Duos. And before you know it, you're straight into another major patch with brand new content.
Yeah, even like when they just released the Horrific Visions. One of the things that they really fumbled on, using a football term, because I love football, they fumbled the ball, and time gating the content is one thing, but time gating the time gated content is another thing. In week 1, you could only level up your first row of your talent tree, whereas when you're looking at it on the PTR, it looked like you go straight down the middle. When I did it, I couldn't go any farther than the first row. So I'm taking and wasting time on things that I'm not going to do. For instance, I'm taking talents that are for group gameplay. I play Horrific Visions by myself. What is that all about? You could go down the middle, but you could only get 3. I tried, Savvy, and unless my game was borked, I could only go across the top 3. That's unfortunate. I'll show you guys in game when I get in there, but it's not something that I enjoy.
To rinse and repeat this process. This constant flow and these steady drips of new stuff keep me logging in way more often, and for the first time in years, I don't feel burnt out playing WoW. To be completely honest with you guys, this might be the most alive WoW has felt to me in a very, very long time, and the player base retention is all here for it. When it comes to games, it's hard to keep someone on one game nowadays. Every other week, there's a brand new major release.
Man, it's been a fucking great, you know what? And that's a great point. A great point. We had Oblivion come out. What was that? Reforged, if you will. We had Baldur's Gate 3. We've had Stellar Blade. You've had Marvel Rivals. You've had, the new one, which is Expedition 33. And then you have things like Repo. And, there's just such a variety of games that you want to try and play, but where do you find the time? One thing that I've done different this season more other than seasons past, I'm only playing one character. One character. Now that character has 3 specs. So I could learn how to tank, I could learn how to heal, and DPS. So that means I need possibly 3 sets of different types of gear with different stats. And that could give you something to look at to try and want to do. And I don't think that there's anything really wrong with that. I think that's kind of cool. That keeps you feel like you're making your class for that spec better. But then you want to go play another game. Go do it. Go have fun. You know, one of the best content creators out there, they play so many different games that their community is unbelievably supportive when he does that. And I find that interesting. I really do. Would I like to be a variety streamer? Sure, but that means you guys got to like me. That means I got to put that means you guys have to be here for me, because the game is going to change. But that's okay if you don't want to just, you know, devote 100% of your gameplay time at the computer to World of Warcraft.
Release on a console or PC that looks amazing, and people want to try everything. So World of Warcraft has ended up feeling almost like a seasonal game for a lot of people. You log in, you go hard for a few weeks, and then you bounce until the next expansion or major patch. But Blizzard's shifting their entire philosophy now. They're not just trying to cram everything in one patch and hope it keeps everyone around for months. Instead, they're trying to keep us around longer by doing something actually very simple. You release content consistently, you don't front load everything at once, and you build a steady flow of updates that feel like there's always something fresh around the corner, so you've got a reason to log in every week. It's not just one crazy patch day. And to be quite frank, it's working better than I expected. It's giving the game room to breathe, and it's making me feel like there's always something to come back for. And I think that's the real magic here. It's not that the game is suddenly, you know, perfect, because it's not, but it feels like Blizzard's finally giving us a version of World of Warcraft that respects our time and wants us to enjoy any and all forms of content active in the game currently. For an MMO,
I think one of the things, like I said, and I'm going to keep trying to repeat this, and hopefully someday people will understand what I mean. If you give the players more story, and by that I mean more quests with nice quality items, you know, give us some more augment runes, you know, as a quest completion reward, things like that. I think it's going to be something that everyone will want to do. I mean, there's a little bit of player power there, you know, but at the same time, hopefully they're looking. I use quest dialogue, so the dialogue box for me, it takes up my whole screen, really immersive add-on that I have, and I get to look at that, and it makes me feel like I'm in the story.
MMO that's been around for 2 decades, it's probably why for the first time in a long time, I'm excited to log in every day instead of honestly trying to just burn through a checklist to keep up. Currently, it's not just about adding more content or flashy new borrowed power systems that go away after a month. It's about reshaping how we as players think about playing the game. I remember back then feeling so damn stressed if I missed just a week or even 2, where it felt like I would always be too far behind to ever catch up, and it really discouraged the crap out of me to continue playing. So I'd just leave, I would go play a different casual game and find something else to de-stress rather than me playing WoW and it feeling like a job. Now, I can step in whenever I want and still feel like I'm part of the loop. My friends and guildmates are playing for a significantly longer duration. Our guild has like 40 to 50 people on every single night, and whether you're a casual or someone who really takes things hardcore, you're always at your own pace, and that's what makes this whole scene and the livelihood of WoW feel more alive to me than ever, where statistically, right now, it's supposed to be the most dead time of an entire expansion, where we're at the smack middle point of the middle patch. So this new approach, as good as it feels in a lot of ways, though, it isn't exactly perfect, because if you're going to roll out content...
That's one of the things that everybody, and I'm waiting to see what the numbers are. Like, Ballylo likes to do the population numbers and see how it's going from patch to patch. I've really enjoyed doing, and I haven't let my subscription lap because I keep on finding new goals for myself to do. Now, without goals, do you lose your incentive to want to log in? I would probably say yeah. Hey, Neil, how are you, my friend? you're probably losing your incentive to go ahead and log in to give 5 hours of your time into the game. But try and think of it as an investment of story. Once again, coming back to the story. But there isn't any. So then just stop playing, maybe? I don't know what the correct solution to that is, besides more story.
And, you know, bit by bit, this content has to be polished when it finally lands. And right now, that's not always the case. The first real test of this new content cadence was, of course, the 11.1.5 Nightfall
It was
patch.
broken.
They rolled it out in pieces where you would get Nightfall first, then 4 leaks later, you would get Horrific Visions, and then a couple weeks after that, you get the Dastardly Duos. Now, on paper, that staggered release scared a lot of people, but in practice, it did a lot of good for the game. That is until Nightfall dropped. Nightfall was supposed to be the big highlight of the patch, but the launch, it was pretty laggy. I remember logging in with friends, all of us are pretty hyped, and then within minutes, the servers were kind of cooked. The event itself was okay, and there were some cool cosmetics, a 10-level renown track, and it was all cool, but the lag and the stuttering and the breaking of the event, it killed the vibe almost instantly. And it's a huge letdown when the, you know, first major event of a patch drops and it doesn't work properly. So Blizzard, they cleaned it up after a couple days, but by then, the initial excitement was already gone for a lot of people. Now, honestly, it feels like there are two completely...
Well, I understand. Yeah, Neil, I understand what you're saying, that you could do the content that's available, leave, and come back. But if for those people that don't play other games, for those that live, breathe, and bleed for World of Warcraft or whatever game that they truly, truly enjoy, what do you do to try and, you know, further their motivation to play? And I say story. You know, this isn't Final Fantasy 14, and I don't expect it to be, but I want more story. I want to see more of a story. So, for instance, I played Black Myth Wukong. You know, the graphics were great. The gameplay was amazing. The story was awesome. The story, BG3. The gameplay was great. The graphics were amazing. The interaction with the characters were awesome. The sex, fucking above all. And the story, you know, things like that. You know, I'm playing Expedition 33. Graphics are great. Gameplay is awesome. And these are all 3 types of different games. Black Myth Wukong, BG3, Expedition 33, all different types. And I have been enjoying all of them because they have all the things that I said, but they also have story. And story is the one thing that I think that Blizzard really needs to go into. They really need to invest in a good story team and release that with their patches. And don't just say that they can't or that we won't do it. You know what? If you want something, don't make it... I was going to say don't make it mandatory to do it, but then probably people won't do it, and then they'll complain about how they don't know shit in the game, how we didn't say anything about it in the game. So it's going to be part of the MSQ, you know, part of the main storyline. You know, how do you guys do that? Would you guys like more story in the game? Let me know down in the comments. I really would like to know.
Different teams working on these patches at times. The 0.0 patches, the patches that are the major releases, they always feel very polished. But then you hit the 0.5 patches, which is the middle point, and it's like the quality drops off pretty significantly. The anniversary event last year was another perfect example where there was bugs everywhere, weird design issues, and it just felt like it was thrown together at the last second. And here's the thing though, if you're gonna drip feed the content like this, if you're gonna make it slower paced,
then it has to be more. Then it has to be more story. But when you finish games like Expedition 33, what do you do with it? That's all it is a story. And yeah, I mean, quite honestly, I have like 700 hours or more in BG3. And I always tried to choose a different path for the story. And that's one thing that I truly enjoyed about that game. No other game has that many hours of me playing it besides these World of Warcrafts and Final Fantasy 14 types of games, because after you're done, and I believe this is where you were going with that, when you're done with that game, then what do? Do you replay it? Does it have replayability? You know, who wants to play the same game, listen to the same story? Are you fast forwarding? Now, I played Black Myth Wukong twice, and I had a blast, but it is currently uninstalled. I started Red Dead Redemption 2. I haven't even finished that one. I'd like to see where that story goes. These things are what I believe will help bring new people to the game. If you're going to make the game, if you watched my other video, if you're going to make the game easier for the new people that come in, what is it that you can do to get that? Hey there, Dogonjo, White Rick. Thank you. I try to look good all the time, but my hair is growing back, so that's a thing.
Can't feel rushed or broken. Otherwise, it completely undermines the whole point of giving players a reason to log in every couple of weeks. You're setting them up to be excited, and then they immediately get let down when things aren't working properly. I'm not saying Blizzard has to be flawless here. No game is flawless, but when you're telling players to show up for new events, they gotta work properly. If it's buggy or half-baked, all it does is make people question whether this whole seasonal approach is even the right move, and if it's even worth it in the first place. Another example was 4 weeks after the Nightfall, we got Horrific Visions, and right away players noticed some issues. The first one is, if you wanted to earn the cosmetics, Blizzard tied them to an achievement that was time-gated by the Horrific Visions talent.
Time-gating your
time-gated content. You had to wait a minimum of 3 weeks to finish it, and the forums blew up, Twitter exploded, and to their credit, Blizzard fixed it within 24 hours, which was great, but still, the fact that it launched like that says a lot. And even now, there's still the problem that the talent tree itself is still time-gated, and you could only get so many points per week, which means if you're a casual or you're not super experienced or not...
Well, but that's just, you're just one facet, White Rick. You're just one facet of the community. And what I mean by that is, and that was my thing that I was trying to go, maybe you don't want to have to do the story, so maybe don't make it mandatory, but for those people that really enjoy the content and enjoy story, make it easy for them to know where the storyline goes. Give it its own special icon, kind of like they already do with the main storyline. Give it its own icon if it's for the people that just want to solo play.
Not that great at the game, you're going to feel way too weak and fragile inside of Horrific Visions, and it's not going to be a fun little grind. It's not going to be a cool event. It's just going to be frustrating, and people are going to bounce before they even get to enjoy the full experience. So I'm going to be honest, I'm on the side that thinks it's kind of fun. It just needs to be fully available right away. Drip feeding an already drip-fed time-gated content just kills the excitement before it even starts. It turns what should be a lot.
It rolls everything to like a dead stop. You know, where people come in, they're all excited by the whole idea of Horrific Visions. Maybe they weren't there for Battle for Azeroth, so they don't know anything about it there. You know, so what it is for you when you log in, you come in, you try to figure it out. Let's say you don't even watch YouTube. Maybe you never watch these videos on how-to and paths and things like that. Does the game explain everything that you should try to do easily? I'm going to say no, it never has. This game doesn't have a lot of hand-holding when it comes to trying giving you the idea of what needs to be done. They'll give you objectives. They'll give you the objectives, but how many people are you losing without a good tutorial for those people coming in to do Horrific Visions? I don't know. Like, somebody that just got into the game, they're going to have a rough time if they're trying to do the content at 636 versus 681, 680. You know, you could steamroll it at the higher end, but then that means you're a nutbeard. You know what I mean? You eat the content as fast as they release it. I have friends that play the game for the leveling. They level characters, then they hit max, they start over and do it again. That's my nephew / brother. Yeah, he does that. He never goes into Mythic Plus, never goes in the raid. I don't even think he goes into LFR. I think he gets him as high as he can with the content that's there just to get him to 80, and then starts on I think he has like 33 characters on both sides. All of them are all maxed.
lot of fun, you know, an alt-friendly piece of content into a chore. And by the time people are actually able to play it properly, they're going to be checked out. Now, I want to be super clear here. Once again, I still think Blizzard is doing a lot of things right. This slower drip content cadence, for me personally, it makes the game way more manageable, way more fun for players who don't want to burn out, and it's really good for alts. It's amazing for progression. It keeps the game fresh, and it always gives you something to look forward to every other week. But when the content they're giving us is either half-baked, buggy, or just flat out broken, it's a problem, and they are aware of something like that. And then lastly, they were going to release the Dastardly Duos bit of content near the end of the patch, which, being completely upfront, this isn't a great game mode. There's little to no rewards being tied to it. It's like okay when it comes to levels of fun, but there are no real rewards. There's no really cool titles or major cosmetics tied to it. So
Is that so? The Dastardly Duos, is that all about for people that want to level fast? I'm curious, like, what is the purpose of Dastardly Duos? And I don't know. I'll have to do some more searching for information, but I don't know anything really about them other than I know they come out in June sometime. I usually get fully burnt out in about 3 to 6 months. Hey, Blank. Yeah, it happens. It happens, but it's one of those things where it's not something that everyone wants to, nor they have to keep playing. You know, Neo plays way more games than I ever probably would at one time. He'll play one day throwing a Liberty, the next day he's doing Elder Scrolls Online, and then he'll be playing, what was the other one you were playing? You know, Monster Hunter. You know, there's Monster Hunter's another one I've never tried.
So why wait over 6 weeks to release this? Why not just release it either in between Horrific Visions and Nightfall?
Hey,
or just
congratulations.
upfront? We just got to remember, ladies and gentlemen, people who aren't actively playing WoW, they are dying to find a reason to crap on the game. They're always going to say something like, oh, it's a mobile game now.
You guys know this. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. Everybody's a doomer. You know, maybe that's why they put out the videos about being a doomer, because that's probably what gets the most video clicks, you know. But I don't think that this game is dead by any means. I just think that they are trying to give us the content, and it could be experimental in the way that they're releasing all of the content, so that they're putting the game into your hands, but they want you to be interested. They're going to listen to the feedback and try and correct whatever issues they have. Time gating has always been their Achilles heel. Another thing, RNG has always been their Achilles heels. I haven't even opened up my vault yet. But I swear to God, if I get another feat or cloak, I'm going to fucking tilt. I'm just going to crash out on X and just, you don't even forget about it.
One button rotations, the lore is so childish. We want big sweaty men, all that crap. But they're going to look for any excuse to pile on the game. And that includes people who don't even understand what's actually going on in the lore, in the game itself, or even aware of how many...
See, he says in the lore, which means give us more story. You know what? I could probably get away from being like a Mythic Plus carrying community. I say carry because you guys hurt my back. You guys know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. You guys, but I love you. That's why I do it. It's because I like to try and help. So when I go in and I go and do these keys with you guys, I'm always trying to always beat the timer. No matter what. Here, I would like to try and learn about more of the world. You know, I shouldn't have to go back to recreating a character and going through all the zones of every expansion just to know about the whole story.
Wins Blizzard has honestly been stacking up month in and month out over and over again. So the question is this style of content release actually working? Well, even with the bugs, the delays, with the stuff that didn't quite land perfectly, Blizzard's risk here is actually paying off. If you look at some of the data when it comes to World of Warcraft and holding more players now, it held more than it did in Dragonflight at the...
All right, so let's see. Week one. Total runs, timed ones. Timed ones. So that is Dragonflight, and then that's the War Within... what?
The same exact point. And what's even crazier is that Dragonflight Season 2 launched with significantly more players, and by this point in the War Within, we have about a 20% increase in participation rate for Mythic Plus and then
Oh, there you
certain
go.
content overall. Remember, this isn't just some random data because this is the
Thank you,
new
brother.
approach of faster content release, you know, more consistent updates and things to
Let's
always
go.
look forward to, and it's working better than probably anyone would have thought, definitely including my own. The community is still popping off. Friends and guildmates are still around. The game doesn't feel like something you have to grind anymore. It feels like something you can just casually enjoy. It's not perfect though. I'm not going to pretend it is. There's a lot of things Blizzard needs to improve on, but overall, this more, you know, slow-paced, consistent flow of updates is the smartest thing they've done in years, and it's letting people play at their own pace. I love that they give us reasons to log in every week, and it makes WoW, to me personally, feel alive. And that's part of the real magic for me. This is the first time in a long time where I'm not stressed playing retail WoW when it comes to falling behind with all these systems and things that complicate me, and it stresses the crap out of me normally, but it's just a video game I can casually enjoy, but still progress as far as I want.
I have been having a lot of fun this season. Season 2 was way better than Season 1, so I'm going to give Season 2 a thumbs up on that. I also have been doing something that I hadn't done before. I also started doing crafting, so I've leveled up my enchanting, and I also leveled up my blacksmithing, and I'm trying to now go through all the specializations and max that all out. So that just gives me a little bit of something else to do for fun. Hey, how's it going, Plox? How are you, my man? Good to see you.
You tie all of that together with Mythic Plus getting greatly improved over the last couple months. The alternate character progression is really, really fast. It's
I'm
probably
doing
the best
good.
it's ever
Doing
been.
good.
There's a ton of catch-up mechanics and systems to dive into, tons of reputations to grind and cosmetics and renowns to check out if you want to, solo challenges and content to play completely on your own. Things from a game design standpoint feel very full, yet it's not overbearing or stressful. There's just options and different roads to go down if you want to. Now, listen, retail, while it is imperfect, it does have some issues, but this new approach overall feels very right, and it fits the modern game design of what an MMO should be. It gives us room to breathe. It lets us enjoy the game at your own pace, and for the first time in years, it feels like WoW's moving in a direction that respects everyone's time, your life, your IRL, and the fact that we're all doing it and we're a little bit older now and busier now. I mean, it just makes sense. I've never felt more excited to log in and see what's new, not because I have to, but because I really want to. And to me, that is the real victory here, man. So let me know what you guys think about it in the comments. Are you enjoying the new seasonal flow? Are you loving everything going on right now?
Exactly.
Are you hating it? Do you feel burnt
So
out?
you no longer have to feel that you have to. Yeah, the FOMO.
Reading every single comment. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, watching the video. One last note we wanted to make.
That is a good guys. Good guys. Come back in. Lance and Sky. I like it. They also do a podcast, I believe, every Wednesday or Thursday night. I'm not quite sure on the day. I usually watch the recast of it, but it's not bad. Not bad. They also have an ability here where if you sign up to their Discord, you could join their guild, and they should accept you. Very cool. Very cool. I considered doing that with one of my alts, to be fair. So I will post this down in the comments down below. And I think that is definitely one of those things that we're going to be seeing a lot more of when it comes to, you know, where the game is going to go, how Blizzard's going to keep us all intrigued about it and things like that. I think that it's going to have, you know, if they're really serious about trying to hold on to the community and bring in new people, going mobile, going console, whatever the case may be, I think that you guys will find this very interesting, and I look forward to seeing how they go about it. I really do. If you enjoyed the comment, be as kind as to leave a thumbs up, sub, you know, leave a comment down below. I enjoy the discussion, and I will catch you all in the next one.